Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome everyone here to the 2024 Fiscal Year Audit Committee meeting and acknowledge that our auditors are joining us online from BDO, as well as any members of the public that are also joining us online. I'll be briefly chairing the meeting as clerk until this committee appoints its own chair. The first item of business is the call to order, so I will do a roll call for the committee members. Councillor Agar. Councillor Cook. Present. Councillor Ferguson. Present. Councillor Loosely. Present. Councillor Miller. Present. Warden Marriott. Present. Thank you. We have quorum. The next item of business is selection of the committee chair, if anyone here is willing to make a motion. Councillor Loosely.
Thank you. I'd like to present or ask Councillor Cook if he would consider chairing this committee. So I would move that if that's necessary.
All in favor? That's carried.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I guess thank you for the railroad. We have our auditors presented here this morning, Ferruccio Da Sacco and Gale Koehler. Gale, welcome. I haven't seen you for a long time. And if you'd be welcome to do your presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully y'all can see that. So, good morning. Ferruccio Da Sacco, partner of BDO, and Gale has been the senior manager on the engagement for a couple of years more than me. Happy to have her continuing to serve the county and provide her knowledge to the team. So we'll go through the agenda that you saw. So we'll talk a bit about the financial highlights, the final report, those charging governance, and any other matters that you would like. But in terms of the audit report, I'll just give you some highlights that it's a clean audit opinion, no concerns, and we're anticipating that it'll be consistent with the prior year in terms of that part. The financial statements themselves are the responsibility of management, so they prepare them, and we do a review and work with management to ensure that the latest disclosures are in the statements based on the current standards. So full compliance and support from Lori and her team to that process. So no issues at all there. Yeah, then I'll have Gale go through some of the financial statement highlights, and yeah, feel free to ask questions at any point.
Okay. Could you move it to the next slide, please? Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and it's good to see everyone too. So I'll start with financial assets. This slide shows a 3-year comparison of financial assets presented on your statement of financial position. You'll notice that cash has decreased 6.9 million from the prior year to a balance of 89.6 million, while accounts receivable have increased 2.2 million. So cash is held at 2 banks, with the majority of your accounts at CIBC and 1 account at RBC. Cash decreased largely due to the significant increase in tangible capital asset additions of 46.9 million in the current year versus 24.5 million in the prior year. So overall, the county is in a healthy position. Okay, moving to financial liabilities. This slide shows the 3-year comparison of financial liabilities presented on your statement of financial position. You'll notice that the financial liabilities have increased 3 million in the current year. As you can see, the most liabilities have remained relatively consistent, with the largest change being in deferred revenue, which increased 2.8 million. So deferred revenue represents unspent grants, and the largest unspent grant was the Canada Community Building Funds, which used to be the GST, and that was at 4.2 million. So this slide shows the decrease in long-term debt in 2020 to 2023. There was some new debt taken on in 2024 of 7 million, and that was for the Lambton Shared Services Center, and that shows as administration building in note 7. So the details of long-term debt can be found in note 7 of the financial statement package, which is page 34. So the next slide shows the expected principal repayments on the debt. So this slide shows the increase over the last 3 years of the municipality's accumulated surplus and tangible capital assets. At the end of 2024, the county had 333 million of tangible capital assets and over 354 million in accumulated surplus. So details of the breakdown of the county's tangible capital assets can be found in Schedule 1, starting at page 46 of your package. So the most significant investments during the year were 13.2 million in transportation and 16.5 million in social and family services. So details of the county's accumulated surplus can be found at Schedule 2, 3, and 4 of the financial statement package starting on page 50. So moving to the next slide, this slide shows the increase of reserves and reserve funds from 2020 to 2023, with a decrease of 2.2 million in 2024. So over the last 5 years, reserve and reserve funds have increased 19 million when compared to 2020. So moving to revenue, this slide shows a comparison of budgeted revenue to actual. Actual revenue was actual revenues were 12.4 million or 4.71 more than budgeted. The majority of the difference was related to provincial government transfers, taxes, and other income. So the next slide shows the information in a pie chart. And of note is 48% is from provincial government transfers and 36% from taxation. So moving to expenses. This slide shows the comparison of budgeted expenses to actual. So the current year's expenses were 2.3 million or 1% more than budgeted. The largest difference is in salaries, wages, and benefits, which is 2 million over budget. So expenses by object. This slide shows the comparison of 2024 expenses to 2023 expenses. The current year expenses increased by 11.2 million or 4.6% compared to the prior year. So the largest increase of 5.9 million was in salaries, wages, and benefits. This slide shows, we're moving to the next slide. So this slide shows a pie chart breakdown of expenses by object. So of note, 42% is spent on salaries, 31% materials, and 14% on contributions to other organizations.
Thanks, Gale. Then also included in your package were the trust funds. So clean audit opinion was unqualified, just means there's no qualification, there's no issues. On that front, total assets is $73,000, made up of cash in your bank accounts. And that's the total of the fund balance as well. So no issues on your individual trust fund financial statements either. So I'm going to get into the those charge and governance report. So it's a required communication that we provide each year, and I'll just highlight these are really the high level aspects of it. But I'm going to get into that report. So it's really just covering the items that as your auditors we're required to communicate. So materiality, preliminary materiality was set to $7.9 million, consistent with final materiality, which means that during the course of the audit, we didn't find anything that would cause us to change or adjust that number. So that's usually and it is a positive. So we're substantially done the audit. There's still a few things to clean up, but once we get approval and update the subsequent event work up to the date of that approval will be complete, which is great, and happy with where we're at on that front, and happy with the support we received from management throughout. They were wonderful. Audit findings. So it's a risk-based audit approach, and as such, we set up our planning around that. So management override control is a consistent risk area in basically every audit that we do. So that just means that there's required work that we have to do to ensure that that's not a concern. We do detailed testing on journal entries using computer-assisted auditing techniques as well, looking for odd transactions or things that would stick out, and then inquire management about those. Through all the work, there was no issues noted on any of the journal entry testing that we did, so that's a positive. Internal control matters. Again, if we are to obtain an understanding, document the control environment. We also do work from an information systems point of view. The key here is that there's no control deficiencies that we noted that, in our opinion, are significant importance to discuss. Unadjusted differences, we're required to disclose these. So we set a discount rate difference in the asset retirement obligation. So each year we recalculate based on the current borrowing rates. And if there's differences, it's usually not material. So we're not recommending posting this. So it's $420,000 of a difference there. But no other differences and no adjustments, which is positive. And I always say that because it's nice to know that the information that you're receiving during the year is also not being changed substantially when it gets to audit, which this would be expected that it'd be clean. So that's a positive. And then there's required communications, whether there's disagreements with management or we're able to obtain the information that we needed to complete the audit. And again, no items of interest to report to the committee today. So no concerns from our lens with respect to the audit or the process or the information and support provided. The rest is some standard information about audit process. Obviously, it's a risk-based audit approach. You identify risk, you scope, identify risk, you design audit procedures, you obtain evidence, you form an opinion, and then you communicate. And we're at the communication part here. And assuming all this goes well, you receive a positive communication in terms of results. So then I always like to highlight our firm's quality standards. So there's information in the package on that. There's a link to our on here on page 14. If you want to read it, there's the audit. We always report our audit quality findings. So self-reporting as a firm on that front. So if you want to read our audit quality report, feel free to. The only other item, there's some things to share there, would be on the ESG. Currently not a requirement, but you can see it becoming more and more as we get more of a standardized approach in terms of assessing your ESG. Right now, I think it's very haphazard, and there's lots of different platforms to assess where you're standing in terms of ESG. But I would expect that in the next few years that IFRS will come out with a clear standard, and that will start to trickle down in terms of how we assess and determine where you stand from your ESG today, and how do you report that. So if you have any need help on that front, please by all means reach out to us, and we'll keep you apprised of the latest on that. Nothing else to note. The letter here just confirms our independence, which is important, obviously, and integral to everything that we do. But from my lens, no concerns, and we're disclosing that. And then we have our management rep letter that we'll be issuing once we have a date of completion, and they're just mainly standard representations consistent with the prior year. So I'll go back here and stop sharing and ask if there's any questions from the committee.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions of the committee on any of the statements so far? Seeing none? Okay. Yes, Councilor Lusty.
Thank you, Chairman Cook. And maybe I'm ahead of time, but in regards, are we going to discuss some of the Appendix 1, some of the observations at a later time here, or do you want me to do it now? This in regards to their recommendations on, there's 3 items that they wanted us to have staff look into approving, such as the user access provisioning, privileged access controls, password and user authentication. Can I deal with that now, or do you want to? Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask our treasurer, of those 3 options they are recommending doing, are we incorporating those?
Through the chair, those items have been communicated to our director of IT, and we're actively looking at those items in order to ensure appropriate controls and measures are in place. Some of those items that are referred to, I believe the 3rd one, there's a cost to implementing some of those items, and the cost benefit is being assessed by the county administration.
And if I can, I just want to say that they're really comments to best practices, really, and staying ahead of the curve in terms of cyber risks. So we're really just trying to give you the latest and greatest, and if we find stuff to help you guys continuously improve, those are the observations and some things to consider. But they've been fully supported by the team in terms of those recommendations.
Yeah, through you, Chairman Cook, and thank you for that. And I understand that. I guess my concern, yes, it's a best practice. It's not maybe a major concern, but I think it's important that we try and do this. All I'd like to do is ask the treasurer if he would report back to us if there's anything they can't do or they're not doing because of cost or whatever. Is that possible?
Just quickly, most of these items have been addressed already through our IT. So for instance, on item number 1, IT's responded and sort of provided nuances in terms of what the actual practice is here as well. User access deprovisioning, item number 2, the same thing, and a periodic access or user access review, the item number 3. They've been addressed internally where there might be, if there is a requirement to invest in software or hardware to ameliorate the situation. Because again, these are not like must do now, shall do now type of concepts. These are, hey, these are things that we should be thinking about, which we appreciate. That'll come back to budget, and you'll see those items in the budget. Okay.
Thank you for that, Mr. Chair. Again, and yes, as the treasurer stated, it was just number 3, depending on cost, whatever. I guess just for interest, I'd just like to be kept informed on item number 3, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions, what is our next step here?
Mr. Chair, do you need a motion for this so far, or do you want to wait to the end?
Yes. Okay, we'll wait till the end then. Thank you. So we are at a part of further discussion. So I guess if our managers would like to leave for a second, we'll have a talk amongst ourselves here. Okay, thank you. It looked like you dodged another bullet, Larry. You're good. So, Councillor Loosley?
Just a quick comment, Chairman Cook. I just want to mention to the staff, I'm very pleased with you, and I hope you don't feel awkward when you're asked to step out. So, welcome back. Thank you.
Okay, so the recommendations are there that the consolidated statements and trust funds for the year December 31st, 24 be accepted and authorized for release, that the auditor's management letter be accepted as presented, and that BDO County Lambton fraud letter dated June 9th, 25 be received, and the draft county letter response dated June 18th, 25 be approved, and the ward be authorized to execute and deliver the same to the auditors. I get a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Miller, Councillor Loosley. Any questions? Councillor Loosley.
Yeah, for you, Chairman Cook, I just want to ask the treasurer and maybe I've missed this, I think the coming in under budget, we just put that amount into reserve. Is that correct?
Correct. Anytime we have a reserve fund policy that allocates money towards our reserves based on the standards and guidelines and policies that our county council has approved.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's just a thought that other counties are considering is if they come in under a budget, they use like 50% maybe to reduce their debt and 50% in reserves. Have we ever considered that?
It's consistent with our reserve fund policy. Absolutely, just as information, we do take from our stabilization reserve to mitigate tax rate growth. We did that in 2025 to tune of 1.2 million. In 2023, I think it was about 2.4. And as we, basically go into future year budgets, we'll always take that into consideration. But every time you look at reserve fund funding as a source of funding, you should be cautious as to thinking of it as a permanent source of revenue for each tax year. So it's strategic in the drawdown that we apply.
Thank you for that. And again, I just want to state this county was in great financial shape. So I think I want to give a plug to the staff and everything else. Chairman Cook, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Listy. I would echo the same comment. I've been sitting in the chair now for over 10 years, and I appreciate the strength and the resolve of what we're getting to at our county level. And I give our treasurer full credit and our staff for what they're doing for us. Thank you. So the motion's been called. All in favor? Thank you very much. And one last motion to adjourn. Councilor Ferguson, Warden Merritt, all in favor? Thank you very much. And thank you to our auditors.
Thank you, everyone.